Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very
This is a very low IQ person. And I look at somebody that comes from Somalia where they don't have anything. They don't have police, they don't have military, they don't have anything. All they have is crime. And she comes in and tells us how to run our country. The Constitution says this, the Constitution. The whole thing is crazy. I feel this Crockett. This is a very low IQ person. And I look at somebody that comes from Somalia where they don't have anything. They don't have police, they don't have military, they don't have anything. All they have is crime. And she comes in and tells us how to run our country. The Constitution says this, the Constitution. The whole thing is crazy.
Let me tell you secrets. Let me tell you about your country. Good morning, pineapples. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Good morning, everybody. Broadcasting live from the free state of Missouri. Coffee is strong here. The flag flies high. It's 28 degrees Fahrenheit here. I hear you guys are even freezing down in Florida. What's going on down there?
No, God, please, no, no.
Hopefully the price of oranges will stay stable. Good morning, moral phenomenon. Grizz cheese, booty sweat. Is your booty sweating? It's not today. The government is only invited to Thanksgiving dinner if it brings dessert and leaves early. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. They call me AP for Liberty. Today we're going to take the pineapple standard of truth, raise it like a battle banner. Because while the ruling class tells you everything is fine, you and I can see the price tags. We live in reality. In reality, groceries are up, housing is unaffordable, energy prices are squeezing families, and wages are not keeping up. Yesterday, Steffi and I were talking about this phenomenon. We were discussing I had $1,000 truck fix that was required. $1,000 to fix my vehicle. Yes, thank you for the audio testing there, guys. $1,000 to fix the truck, and it didn't even get fixed. It had to get fixed halfway because to do a full fix would have been $2,000. So I'm fixing it halfway this fall, and I'll fix the other half this February. And it's like, okay, so I'm doing the math yesterday. I'm like, all right, so I'm driving a 2012 F-150. How much I'm talking to the AI. I'm like, how much is this truck worth right now? Does it make sense for me to fix it? Should I try and get a new truck? Well, if you try and get a new truck, you're going to pay more. Oh, you want a truck like the one that you got in 2012 now? Oh, well, that truck is going to be like $100,000 if you were going to get something new or fairly new. So, well, what are you going to do? You're going to upgrade to another used car so it's slightly less used? How much? You're still going to pay more money. So at the end of the day, I just chose to fix my truck half, and then womp womp. You just wait until I don't need air conditioning this winter anyway, because that's the other half. Like, I got the compressor, but now I need the condenser. Then you got to do the flush and then the condenser. So for this fix, I got $1,000, and then in the spring it'll be another $1,000 to fix again for the vehicle that's from 2012. Have you guys seen the used car market? Have you been to the grocery store lately? Has anybody are the elites peeing on our legs and telling us that it's raining? SeaWorld Girl says Trump can probably give you a 10-year repair loan. A 50-year repair loan. So today we're unveiling the Milei Protocol. So the chainsaw swinging libertarian president of Argentina may actually have the playbook that we need, that he stole from us, to fix America's cost of living crisis. So Milei looked at his debt bloated, bureaucrat ruled, inflation ridden economy and he cut. He didn't reform. He didn't modernize. He chainsawed entire government ministries out of existence. And what does he get from the elite? Again, the libertarian elite, Hans Hermann Hoppe, but he's not a real libertarian because Israel. Fuck you, Hans Hermann Hoppe. Fuck you. And all of the homosexuals behind him, all waiting their turn to have a chance at his anus. Sorry, booty sweat. My booty be sweating. Apologize for the language. Just wait for your tariff revenue check, says Barney. Oh, yes. And I can fix the air conditioner in my truck, in my 2012 F-150. Once you get a 4x4, you get a 4x4 drive in those things, and I got a V8 engine in that 2012 thing. You want to try and replace that with a newer vehicle? Just forget it. You know, you're going to pay $50,000 for like a used car these days. It's just redonkulous. Anyways, sorry for the language. I hope it didn't scare many of you off, right? Then at A2, why do I read the A2 thing? It's not A2 to you. It's A2 to me. To you, it's just the second topic, the 7:30 segment. The International Olympic Committee has finally admitted what every high school biology student knows. Male bodies have athletic advantages over female bodies. Yes, it's true. And now the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is preparing to ban trans-identified males from women's competition categories. When the story came out yesterday, it was this huge breaking news. Breaking news! Men and women are different. We're going to talk about that this morning. Remove the 25-year rule so we can directly import new Japanese cars as well. Booty, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. You know what they call that rule? They call it the chicken tax rule, because foreign companies were placing import taxes on American chickens. So American leadership put tariffs on Japanese cars. It's like this Toyota, the Hilux truck that they make that's pared down, that you can get for like $10,000. You can get a pared down, good, decent vehicle. And we can't import them here to the United States. You can't have affordable trucks in the United States. It's illegal for trucks to be affordable in the United States, essentially. It's pure protectionist bullshit, of course. Do you remember like a year ago, 2 years ago? What's up, Hal? Remember when people were arguing with me online about the tariffs? They're like, Austin, you got to do the tariffs. You got to try and do the tariffs. And I'm like, we're all good. You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it, right? It's like that retarded kid at the beginning of that movie. What is that show? American Horror Story. And it's like the little girl's like, you got to regret. Don't go in that haunted house, right? There's this horror house. The kids are going to get murdered. And like the little girl's standing there holding the doll and she's looking at him. She's like, don't go in there. She's like, you got to regret it. You got to regret it. That's how I feel, except I'm not retarded. You're retarded. I'm not the retard. You are. You're going to regret it. And now look at us. We regret it. We regret it. I regret it. Do you regret it? I would like to be able to afford vehicles in this country. I would like to be able to afford a new house. My family is growing, right? I'm in a closet right now. Can we please be able to afford a new house? Oh, no, says the man in Washington. You must have to pay. Your house has to be an investment vehicle. So we're all caught up in this economy where we all have our biggest investments are in our homes. Is that really what it should be like? Is that really what the economy should be based on? Money on paper in mortgages? Is that really the fundamental basis for a strong economy? I don't know. We're going to talk about it this morning. We're going to talk about the International Olympic Committee. I've got a surprise for you guys today. Another Jefferson City surprise. Not just that Hal Dooley's hanging out with us in the chat over there this morning. Good morning, Hal. It was great to see you yesterday. Not just that Andy Opperman went to the Griff shop and got himself a really good deal on some Martha's Mint coffee when he bought 4 boxes, and he saved a significant chunk of change. Buy 4 boxes, save $12. Thank you, Andy, and will put us well on the way to unlocking the bonus content this morning. He bought 4 boxes of Martha's Mint coffee from the Grift Shop and saved a big time. So if you guys are looking to get some of our coffee, the prices have never been better. We have bulk discounts now. I can't save you money if you buy 1 box, but I can save you a significant amount of money if you buy 2, 3, 4, or more. And we're going to have Camellia Peterson on the show today at 8 o'clock this morning to talk a little bit about the cost of living crisis. And we're going to talk to her a little bit as well about energy affordability. Here in Missouri, we have, and I know some other states are experiencing this as well, we have these data centers that are going into certain communities, and they're being blamed for raising energy prices in areas like Jefferson County here in Missouri. There was a big fight over one. And I believe that there is talk about potentially trying to bring one to my area as well. So the free market and property rights now in conflict with cost of living increases, which nobody wants to see their electric prices go up. Ameren, which is it's the electricity generator that we have here in my district. There's one, I think it's 3 Rivers, which is another one that's fairly close to here. But Ameren sent out a letter saying that there was going to be public meetings for these data centers. And a lot of these data centers, it's because of AI. So they need all these servers and computing power. So they got to build all these giant server farms somewhere. And residents are blaming the data centers for the cost of electricity going up. But is that the case? We're going to hear from Camellia Peterson this morning at 8 a.m. Central Time on the Wake Up America show. And I'm looking forward to having her on today to share some numbers with you. We also have a special mystery guest today. You know how we had Hal Dooley in studio yesterday and it was kind of like a fun little surprise, Hal showing up? Well, guess what? We've got another surprise guest who's going to be joining us in studio today. I'm always trying to keep you guys guessing, keep you coming back to the Wake Up America show. You never know what's going to go on, but somebody's going to walk in through that garage here in just a minute. And if it's not the person that I think it is, then I'm going to shoot them with the AK-47 that I have hidden under this desk. But if it is the person, I hope it is. We're not messing around here. So keep an eye out in the second hour of the show today because we have a special mystery guest who will be joining us in studio. Ima Goodlay over on YouTube this morning. Hi, Ima. We've got a cash settlement and we need cash now. Call JG Wentworth 877 cash now. The post-liberal right are mad at Ben Shapiro over this video.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities. If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that sounds exceptionally harsh, but let's break it down, right? So let's be honest. First, the headlines are saying things like inflation is cooling, markets are rebounding, doom scrolling on our phones is fun. But for most Americans, especially small business owners, working families, but we're both budgets that don't have slack. That's us. The reality of this economy right now is still pretty harsh. Okay, public mood. Let's look at it at the numbers. Polling shows that when Americans think about politics, it's less about ideological purity. It's less about ideology, so they don't really care about things like socialism or capitalism. Newsflash. The things that they care about is, will I be able to afford to live? According to recent data, large majorities say that cost of living is not just an issue, it's the issue. So consumers are worried more about everyday bills than they are most other policy debates. Okay, that should not surprise you, but it does bear repeating.
John Rail says, good morning, AP. Happy Veterans Day. I'm thankful that the company I work at started giving us the day off this year. Thank you, John. And if Hal Dooley is still here, happy Veterans Day to him as well, and to many others, my father included. So consumers are more worried about everyday bills than pretty much anything else. People like who watch the Wake Up America show, we may be really intensely interested in perhaps certain Supreme Court decision outcomes. Most Americans don't care about that stuff. Most Americans care about their everyday bills. It's the economy, stupid. All right. In housing, consider this. The median home price in recent years has ballooned. Median household income has not kept pace. I think many of us know this. You can probably feel it out there, right? The result is that many people are priced out of ownership. People are locked into high rents or high mortgage burdens. Thank God we don't have that, at least. Many people are seeing less upward mobility. Housing numbers in many metro areas, homes costing 5 times the household income. That's expensive. 5 times the household income, right? That the gap in supply, because of NIMBYism, regulation backlogs, zoning constraints, all play a role. We're going to get into more details about that with Camellia this morning. And then, of course, there's tariffs, regulations, supply chain cost burdens. But here's the thing. When you impose tariffs, you're raising input prices for manufacturing. You're raising prices for retail, for any business that relies on global trade. And even the businesses that don't rely on global trade are going to get higher prices imposed on them by the people in their community who do, right? We're all interconnected. The economy is organic. Right? It's not something that you can just turn on, turn off. There's no levers that you can pull. It's organic. You push on one side of it, right? And the results might be unexpected out the other end. However, if you raise taxes, then it's a pretty fairly common result that you see. You see less investment, you see lower production. And of course, you see flights to safety like we do in New York City, where people are fleeing New York. I saw a headline yesterday that Wall Street firms are moving their asses to Texas. All my exes live in Texas. And that's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. I find myself agreeing with Ben Shapiro more and more these days. If that makes me a Fagaline Mongoose 87, well, then put me in that camp. So message disconnect, right? So the political class in both parties keeps framing things in tax cuts versus spending, culture wars versus identity politics. But a huge swath of voters, they don't care. They're thinking, will I be able to pay my rent this month? Will I have enough to feed my family? Will energy costs kill my budget? And that gap is what we need to close. So here's the kicker. If your show or your movement says, we stand for freedom, we stand for markets, the audience says, great, but how about freedom from being crushed from cost of living, right? FDR. We're all Rooseveltians now. And if you ignore the fact that most people are FDR-style Republicans or FDR-style Democrats, then you're going to lose the broad coalition that you need because of course, FDR destroyed this country, and most Americans are Rooseveltians. Jimmy Joe says, Booty Sweat says, good, go to Texas. Florida's full. Oh, really? Stephanie and I were looking at Florida, actually. Okay. So housing supply. So with housing becoming ever less affordable, many families are stuck renting, unable to build equity. COVID-19 was your last chance if you wanted to get an affordable home. That was it. And I don't know if we're going to ever see in our lifetime, we're ever going to see affordable housing. I'm at 44 years old right now. Between 44 and 84, what's going to happen? Are we going to, does America look like it's going to adopt austerity? Does America look like it's going to adopt any kind of conservative measure anytime right now. Like I said, the FDR, both parties are the FDR party. So do you think that at any point in time you're going to see the solutions that you and I know are going to work coming out of any of these parties anytime soon? I don't think so. The closest that we have here in the United States is Vivek Ramaswamy, and most Republicans hate him because he's an Indian. He's the least Rooseveltian of all of the Republicans. So if one aims for liberty, housing matters, right? The freedom to choose where you live, the freedom to build wealth, the freedom to not waste half your paycheck on rent. And small businesses are the backbone of this economy. They hire, they invest, they create community. When tariffs, regulations, supply chain disruptions, which has been nothing but a pain in my ass for the last year, when those costs get raised, then they have to pass those costs on. And that means higher consumer prices, fewer hires, and slower wage growth. Where do you think these higher prices are coming from? Right? It's not just the printing of the money. Right? Inflation, if you go and you look up inflation in an encyclopedia, do you know how many stinking definitions there are of that word? There are so many. And inflation, I know, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, I think Milton Friedman said. But it's more than just a monetary phenomenon. There's more going on than just the printing of the money. So higher consumer prices, fewer hires, and slower wage growth are the result of regulations, tariffs, and supply chain disruptions. Whether we like it or not, whether we are like, globalists are taking over, the laws of supply and demand are ironclad, and it doesn't change because it hurts your feelings. Remember what Ben Shapiro said, facts don't care about your feelings.
Oh, God!
I don't know why everybody's so triggered about Ben Shapiro these days. Is it the tiny hat? Maybe he needs to get a big hat like myself. You can get this big hat at forlibertyshop.com, by the way. We will own nothing and be happy, says Nelson65. Good point. Good point. So policy messaging. This is it's least in importance in many ways, but still important, right? Policy messaging is lagging reality. Many campaigns are still talking about culture war issues or big tax cuts or government versus private. But if your monthly budget feels squeezed, then you're going to say, where's the answer for me? Right? That's why a strategic pivot matters. One that says, yes, we do the culture stuff, but we also fix your cart, your bills, your rent, because liberty counts when you can afford to live, right? So there it is. The U.S. cost of living problem. It's not exotic. This is an everyday thing that we are all dealing with. Grocery bills, rent, business costs, energy. If conservatives and libertarians and small business people, right, if we believe in freedom, then we have to believe in affordability as a part of that freedom. And that is where I'm going next. Let's transition. But before we do, I want to remind you all that we are well towards our goal of unlocking today's bonus content. So let's do it, guys. Drop those Rumble rants. Remember, every dollar that you drop as a Rumble rant is an entry that you can use to play our game at the end of the show and win real prizes from the shop. So make a contribution, even if it's only $1. That if we had, how many people watching? If 80 people dropped $5 right now, you guys, we would be funded. We would, if we did stuff like that, if we were raising that kind of money every day on the Wake Up America show, you want to talk about like more content, more everything, better website, more integration of our shop, and expansion of the For Liberty Network. If you guys want to see us succeed, if you want to see the project of passion, the labor of love, that's Stephanie, if you want more children's books, more adult, you want to give me more time to write a book, then let's do it, guys. Support the Wake Up America show financially. especially right now during the holidays as we're trying to gear up to get ready for all of the busiest season that we'll have. It's like the feast for us and then famine as soon as the holidays are over. So help us to build up a cash reserve, make a contribution if it's valuable to you. If you see value in Austin and Stephanie putting their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors on the line, right, so that you don't have to get canceled at your workplace for the opinions that we hold in common, then please do make a Rumble Rant contribution. $5. If 80 people did $5, that would be life-changing amount of money for us, and I could get my truck fixed. So here it is, the U.S. cost of living problem. This is what we're going to tackle right now. So you might ask, okay, Austin, we've talked about the problems, right? I've analyzed the problems. And unlike a lot of people, I will give you some solutions. I have the answers to our problems, ironclad answers to these problems that we have identified here. All right, here it is. I'm going to let me introduce you, like many of you haven't heard of this, a real world policy experiment overseas, a country that said enough to chronic economic pain and tried something bold. I call it the Milei Protocol. It's named after Javier Milei, president of Argentina. We're going to examine what he did and then ask, could we adapt similar steps in the United States and with a liberty-friendly small business twist? Is this something that we could bring here to the U.S.? I would invite your feedback on this one. 573-319-1586 is the text line. That's 573-319-1586. Let's walk through some of the major reforms. So not all of them are perfect and not all of them are painless, but all of them are worth studying. So fiscal discipline and spending cuts. So when Milei took office in December of 2023, his country faced historic inflation, massive deficits, a state apparatus that weighed down anything that small businesses would ever attempt to do in Argentina. He cut the number of ministries in his country. This would be like our USDA, DEA, FDA, HUD, all this. He cut the number of ministries from 18 to 8. He abolished secretariats. He fired tens of thousands of public employees. We were so close to doing something similar. If only the shutdown had gone on a little longer and Trump had been a little bit angrier, we might have put into place a Milei protocol of our own. A state apparatus who is still fighting with him while he's trying to privatize the roads. Very true, Booty Sweat. Quest Fanning, thank you for the contribution. I love how it highlights it there in the live chat on the screen there. So one of the remarkable results that Milei had was that annual inflation dropped to around 43.5%, which sounds huge, but it was hundreds of percent. It was triple digits until Milei got a hold of the economy. So that's crazy high by U.S. standards, but it was a dramatic improvement from the hundreds of percent range that it was before, right? Then he went on a deregulation blitz, right? The mega decree that wiped out or altered hundreds of regulations. So one estimate was that 2 regulations were removed or changed per day in his first year. For example, rent controls were abolished, import and export authorizations were reduced. And then investment focus. That's what he was focused on. So he created regimes to attract large investment projects, especially in natural resource and infrastructure sectors, contacted Elon Musk, business owners, right? The idea was to boost supply, reduce bottlenecks, and create growth. So what's the takeaway for all this? When you tackle the supply side and the fiscal side, so the supply side would be like housing, regulations, investments, and the fiscal side is spending cuts and transparency. When you do that at the same time, you can reduce costs in a meaningful way. And this is not an ideology exercise. This is a real world exercise that we see taking place. It is a structural exercise, right? But also it's not painless. Right? Argentina's reform path included real pain, wage freezes, pension cuts, social welfare reductions. For example, public sector salaries fell over 15% in real terms after public spending cuts. And then many Argentines are still feeling the pinch despite inflation falling. But why does this matter to us? If we accept as a baseline that cost of living pressure matters politically, economically, socially, then we need policy tools that can deliver real change in this country. The experiment in Argentina gives us a kind of a laboratory of pro-liberty, pro-market reforms that are aimed at affordability. Even if the country and the context differ, the lessons transfer to many-fold effects in the United States. So here's what we should do. I am calling this the Milei Protocol for America. This is adapted for a small business, liberty-driven audience. Let's walk through my 6 planks that I'm introducing to you here now for the first time on the Wake Up America show. Good for you if you're tuned in to us live right now. You're the first people to hear this. My policy prescriptions for America. Right? So, and this is all rooted in the U.S. context, okay? Each with actionable framing. Plank 1, real primary surplus via spending cuts. So too often balanced budget becomes vague. We need a visible commitment. Spending restraint first, tax cuts second. Freeze new major federal programs for 12 months. Review all existing multi-billion-dollar programs for efficiency or elimination. Link the savings, reduce cost burdens for businesses and consumers rather than new spending. Right? And why should we do this? Right? When the government isn't borrowing so aggressively, interest rates, inflation pressures, regulatory costs, they will ease and it will free up private capital for investment. Plank number 2, deregulation sprint. So permit backlogs, zoning delays, trade or regulatory friction. All of these are raising costs for us to build in this society. Congress should pass a one-time deregulation package, simplify zoning review, streamlining trade licenses, and establish that major regulations expire after 5 years unless renewed. Rules should protect people, not entrench vested interests or raise costs without review. Clip it. Plank number 3, strategic investment zones, right? Borrowing from Argentina's regime, the U.S. could designate liberty growth zones. Trump has talked about this. Infrastructure, housing supply expansion, domestic processing and manufacturing with a 15 to 30-year regulatory tax stability for qualifying firms. Let people know what the costs are going to be before they invest in the zone, and say, if you're going to invest in this zone, this is what the taxes are going to be for 30 years. So you know how stable that you can have a stable business for 15 to 30 years. That would solve a lot of America's problems. You would be shocked at what people can do when they know how much they can invest and know how much it's going to cost for them over time to do business in a certain area. So stability, right? This is going to draw a lot of money and it's going to enhance the supply. It's going to reduce the bottlenecks that we're facing, and that's going to lower the cost of living. Many small business owners are going to welcome this because it's going to involve new investments, supply chain relief, and it's going to lower input costs. Then plank number 4, tariff restraint and trade cost transparency. If you think that in housing and in businesses that it's important to have stable rules, it's the same with international trade, right? Tariffs often, they function like taxes because they are taxes. If one president uses emergency powers to impose tariffs broadly, the next is going to do the same for climate, immigration, whatever. And that risk is going to chill markets, okay? So we have to set clear statutory limits on presidential tariff emergency use, right? It has to get like any tariff has to get 5%, or 5% of them have to get commercial review or congressional review or what have you, right? Increase the transparency of cost burdens and push messaging. So free trade and freedom to live affordably go together. This is the messaging, right? Plank number 4. Free trade and freedom to live affordably go together. This is how we defeat the FDR Republicans, right? Plank number 5. Housing supply, zoning, and price freedom. So one major cost for families is housing. If regulation slows supply, prices rise. Federal incentives to states and localities that adopt zoning reform, like allowing greater density or accessory dwelling units, streamlining approval. These are to make it so that it's tied to housing cost relief metrics. So the freedom to choose your home, the freedom to build equity, the freedom to not get trapped paying half of your paycheck on housing. This is the messaging we should be going for. Plank number 6, targeted subsidy reform, not blanket handouts. So big government often creates hidden cost burdens via subsidies that distort markets. Think energy, think transportation, right? What can we do? Phase out these broad subsidies, replace them with a narrowly targeted relief program for those who are truly in need, right? Make it means tested, right, and transparent so that cost burdens drop for us all, but public support stays for now. Right? Why do we do this? Because you lower the subsidy cost, that lowers the tax and then the bond burdens, which means that there's more room for growth. So that is my 6-point Milei Protocol for America to solve the cost of living crisis. You want to talk about cost of living? I want to talk about cost of goods. You want to talk about lowering housing prices? I want to talk about zoning. You want to talk about tariffs? I want to talk about stability and stable prices. If we want to live in liberty, then we need to have liberty to live. We believe you should have the freedom to innovate, to hire, to build, and to invest. And that means you should not be held hostage by high costs, hidden taxes, and buried regulation. It's not just freedom from, it's freedom to live, to grow, and to prosper. Are you with me? What do you think? Love to hear your thoughts. You can drop them in a comment in the Rumble chat. You can also send us texts at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. I just dropped my protocols, the Milei Protocol for America. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and more. Or maybe we can just, I don't know, we'll just do this.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to.
So there you go. I guess that's throw the 6-point Milei Protocol out the window and just give everybody $2,000. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. So, and here's what people forget, right? It's not just about housing. Housing is a big part of the conversation. It's everything. Try starting a small business in this country. Just try. I dare you. I dare you to start a small business in this country. You want to cut hair? Go get a license. You want to bake cookies? Health inspector. You want to drive a cab? Unionized gatekeeper. Meanwhile, immigrants, of course, they flood in, they sell tamales on the corner without an LLC or an EIN, and of course they get applauded by the press for their entrepreneurial spirit, right? It's rules for thee, free rides for everyone else, right? And the truth is that the government doesn't build anything. All it does is it taxes. $2,000 is not enough to buy my loyalty, okay? $2,000 is like a month's worth of baby products and food and everything that I need that goes into that child's mouth. You know what I'm talking about, right? That baby eats. I'm talking gallons of milk. They ought to have the milkman service still these days, but then he just goes around for the houses that have babies. I guess they still have DoorDash, so it's like he's bringing a lot more than milk these days. But I dare you. I dare you to start a business. I dare you to see what happens as soon as you try and step into the entrepreneurial world. It is the ultimate challenge. The ultimate challenge to step in and try and build something, right? You know, so who really builds the roads? We do, right? We built the homes, right? We the people, the business owners, we are the people who are building this society. We invented the tech, we laid the pipelines. All the government does is tax the labor and give it to bureaucrats with pronouns in their email signatures. So my special guest is here. Goodness gracious. I tell you what, guys, I'm going to go ahead and give you the bonus content and let you enjoy it. I'll be right back. Here's the bonus content. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show. Can you hear the dogs barking there? I thought they were going to come to the garage. I have a super secret squirrel special guest coming up next. It's the Wake Up America show, and you're watching the 4 Liberty Network. Probably seen the headlines. California's $20 fast food minimum wage didn't kill jobs. But what if those triumphant claims are built on a foundation of shaky data and selective interpretation? It's time to peel back the layers and expose the uncomfortable truth behind the headlines. A recent study from the University of California, Berkeley was widely celebrated. It suggested that after California's $20 minimum wage for fast food workers took effect in April, restaurants not only maintained but even added workers. This was presented as a victory for proponents of higher minimum wages. However, if you actually delve into the 25-page paper, a different picture emerges. The glowing press releases and media soundbites don't quite align with the study's own findings. In fact, the paper barely addresses the direct effect of the minimum wage increase on California fast food employment. The study offers no concrete numbers or robust models to support the claim of job growth. There's a striking absence of clear evidence that fast food jobs genuinely increased because of the law. This raises a critical question. How can such definitive conclusions be drawn without the data to back them up? The paper's abstract boldly asserts, "We find that the policy did not reduce employment, yet the authors themselves admit their data is prone to sampling errors." This glaring discrepancy between the cautious academic language and the confident public messaging is deeply troubling for anyone seeking objective policy analysis. Only deep within the study, on page 20, do we find a graph. This chart, meant to illustrate employment trends, actually shows California fast food employment increasing more slowly than national fast food employment. This directly contradicts the narrative of a job boom. If anything, these data suggest a reduction in California fast food job growth compared to the rest of the nation. This isn't just a minor detail, it's a fundamental challenge to the study's core assertion. How can we trust conclusions that seem to ignore their own visual evidence? The situation becomes even murkier when we consider the data sources. The red line, representing California employment, includes casual dining restaurants exempted from the $20 wage, like Panera Bread and Buffett's. These establishments might have expanded, masking job losses in the directly impacted fast food sector. By combining data from potentially growing exempted businesses with those struggling under the new wage, the true negative impact could be hidden. This aggregation makes it nearly impossible to isolate the specific effects of the $20 minimum wage on the targeted fast food industry. We need precise, granular data, not broad strokes. Another study, Early Effects of California's $20 fast food minimum wage, also raises concerns. It found that California fast food workers lost an average of 2 work hours per week. While the authors downplayed this, even 2 hours is significant for low-wage earners. The study's methodology is also questionable.
It only surveyed workers who kept their jobs, ignoring those who were laid off or whose restaurants closed. Furthermore, respondents were self-selected, recruited through social media ads. This isn't a random sample, it's a recipe for biased results. This isn't just an academic squabble, it's a crucial policy debate. When studies are rushed and conclusions are spun for political gain, who truly suffers? It's often the low-skill workers, the very people these policies claim to help. High minimum wages risk cutting off the bottom rungs of the economic ladder. Instead of gaining experience at entry-level jobs, workers might be pushed into the informal economy or onto public assistance. We need to ask, are we truly empowering workers, or are we inadvertently creating new barriers to opportunity? Consider Seattle's minimum wage hike in 2014. An independent study found that while layoffs didn't surge, workers earning below the new minimum saw their hours cut by 7%. Despite a small hourly pay bump, these workers lost an average of $888 per year. This wasn't a win for the most vulnerable. In fact, the study found that the most experienced workers benefited, while less experienced, lower-paid individuals lost out significantly. When the findings were inconvenient, Seattle even cut funding for the researchers, seeking more favorable analyses. This pattern of suppressing inconvenient truths is alarming. These studies aren't about finding truth, they often serve to score political points. This approach disregards the real lives of low-skill workers. We need to demand rigorous, unbiased research that focuses on the actual impact on these individuals, not just economic aggregates. Don't let misleading headlines dictate critical policy decisions. Demand transparency from policymakers and researchers. Share this information, challenge the narrative, and insist on data-driven discussions that genuinely serve the interests of all workers, especially the most vulnerable. Your voice can help ensure that future policies are built on facts, not political spin. When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a red coat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com. Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense. But you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop forlibertyshop.com. Picture this. It's 1776. Thomas Jefferson is hunched over his desk at Monticello, ink-stained fingers, writing the most radical document in human history. Do you really think he was sipping Starbucks? No. He was drinking something bold, something black, something brewed strong enough to fuel a revolution. That's the spirit behind Founding Flavors, our signature line of liberty-fueled coffee. No soy froth, no climate guilt, no corporate slogans. Just real coffee, inspired by the men who wrote freedom into existence. Every cup is a quiet protest. Against mediocrity, against tyranny, against bad coffee. So this morning, skip the globalist brew. Grab something worthy of a free man's sunrise. Founding Flavors. Now brewing at forlibertyshop.com.
Here at Alligator Alcatraz, the fence keeps them in. But slip up, and you're on my plate.
Looks like breakfast is making a run for it. We got 3 hot meals trying to check out early from Alligator Alcatraz.
They can splash, they can sprint, but there's no escaping Alligator Alcatraz. Caught 2.
The third? Huh.
The swamp's got its own way of catching runaways.
Mama was wrong. Gators don't need toothbrushes. Just an honest job making America great again.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities. If you're a young...
Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. If you've been watching housing prices climb like they're chasing a stimulus check, you're not alone. Across the country, families and small businesses are feeling the squeeze. The culprit might be hiding in plain sight. Zoning laws. For decades, local regulations have quietly restricted land use, banned the kind of missing middle housing that keeps communities affordable, and made it almost impossible for young families to buy homes where they work. But now some liberty-minded reformers are pushing back, and in Missouri, that battle is getting even more real. Residents are pushing back against these massive secretive data center projects that would consume hundreds of acres, strain water supplies, and ostensibly drive up energy costs. So how do we balance growth with freedom, local control with housing supply, and innovation and transparency? Joining us now to break it down is a local luminary in studio, I might add, but Edie Vogel here joining us to discuss heir to the Coca-Cola legacy here in town. Edie, nice to see you.
Nice to see you this morning.
It's nice to have you here, Edie.
Good. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here.
It's been a while, and when you called yesterday, I thought, who's this guy? I know him.
Yeah. People thought that I was going to be introducing Camellia. Well, I am also introducing Camellia, and Camellia is here as well. Hi, CJ.
Good morning. I'm so delighted to see Edie this morning.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a nice little surprise. Towards the holidays, I like to make things a little bit more, fun and soft and gentle and kind. And
I don't know about the gentle and kind, but it's an honor to be here again. I always enjoy chatting with you two fine patriots.
Thank you very much, and you as well. So Jefferson City is a good example of this, Edie. It's really hard to find housing. I know it. I mean, you are lucky because you live in the Vogel mansion, but for the rest of us down at the bottom of the hill,
160-year-old mansion, yes.
You've heard about this, though, Edie. People are struggling to find homes here in Missouri, or in Jefferson City.
Austin and Camellia, I don't understand how the government has to get involved with something that, once again, I will say is should be all done by private enterprise. And if people don't have it's out of control in regards to the cost of everything. I mean, it just seems like 10 years ago, maybe even not that long ago, a nice priced house in Jefferson City was $150,000. And I might be wrong about that, but now I'm looking at advertisements for houses that are, maybe not as old as my house, but built in the 50s, which is 70 years ago, and they want $200,000, $300,000 for those homes that do not sit on any acreage, or they're just a lot. And how can any young couple afford that?
Yeah, you had to have an international pandemic that drove mortgage rates as low as it was in 2020.
Yeah.
If you didn't buy a house during COVID-19, Camellia, you weren't getting a house.
Yes, and I, unfortunately, I was, my refinancing, I couldn't refinance until well after that. So I do not have that nice rate.
Oh, dang.
So it sucks. But no, I mean, everything Edie said is true. It's not your imagination. Housing prices have skyrocketed, and it is just such a mishmash of things that are getting thrown against the wall and saying, in the current administration saying, we're going to fix this and, whatever. So I just saw this morning that Ron DeSantis quote tweeted something that came out saying that Fannie Mae is going to drop their credit. I think their minimum is at 620 right now. So their requirement, they are going to drop that again. And Ron DeSantis was like, we've seen this movie before. Because, I mean, these are not the answers, and more government intervention is not the answers. Less government intervention is the answer. We will see in Missouri, and I know that in states across the country, you will be seeing legislation going through about trying to address housing issue. And so a lot of that will be an attempt to deregulate. I know here in Missouri, that's going to be the case. The Speaker of the House in Missouri has already said that housing is going to be one of his major priorities. And I've talked to builders who have very specific ideas and ways that these things need to be regulated so that they can afford to build houses in different places, because the cost of materials is so high, and all of the different things that you have to meet, especially in the big cities like Kansas City and St. Louis, it just makes the cost of building a house exorbitant. And not to mention the zoning problems, right? I mean, everybody wants these single family units, right? But when you talk about single family units, a house for a family now, as far as what is commonly accepted, is much, much, much larger than a single family home 50 years ago.
Edie, when I go to the local Republican club meetings and they talk about how Scholastic here in town needs workers and they need places for workers to live, the local Republicans are not big fans of new construction here for middle income people in Jefferson City. What's up? What's the deal with that?
Now I think that if the local manufacturers come to political parties, apparatuses, organizations that are, then let them build it. They
should let them build it.
But if they're here again, I never could figure that out. But I think back in the early days of Jefferson City being established with manufacturing, that's what happened. The manufacturers bought. Well, this city was still underdeveloped, so they would buy a tremendous amount of acreage and they would build subdivision. They would build areas for their employees to have a chance to purchase a home, or maybe even rent from them if that occurred.
Well, how would you feel if you wanted to expand the Coca-Cola bottling plant here in Jefferson City, and you wanted to hire maybe, say, another 150 to 500 new employees for the Coca-Cola bottling plant, and then Ron Fitzwater said no?
Well, now I'm going to maybe throw you off, but I don't think that it's my business, my company's business, to try to do that.
to hire new employees?
No,
or expand?
no, hire new employees to expand. But the city shouldn't be in there. It's up to the individual,
the business owners,
to say to well, they shouldn't be building the houses either. It still should come from the folks that are going to
actually investing in
yes,
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Camellia, local housing, local regulations, zoning regulations means that whenever you want to expand your business and be able to have the opportunity to do so, you have to go and achieve some form of sinecure. You need to have a politician in your pocket if you want to be able to expand your business. Is that the way things ought to be?
No, I mean, there are so many examples of this when you have developers come in and they're making a deal with City Hall or your county council to get special perks. And the thing is that this is such a tangled web that we've woven, right? You have so many factors at play, and there are a lot of people who live in these municipalities who don't want developers to come in and build these low rent apartment complexes and things like that. And here's the thing. They're not wanting this because so much of this is government subsidized. And when you have, rent control and government subsidies, then you do bring in people who are not invested in taking care of their homes. And it does it does tend to create problems in the community. But like I like to say, the problem is always the government. If you kept the government out of subsidizing all of that and, making it easy for people to come in and not appreciate and respect having a home and taking care of it, then this is what you end up with. So we have to allow those smaller housing units to be built, but we need to keep the government out of it because there is a dire need for housing and the demand is there, but the demand is not necessarily for, $250,000, $300,000 houses.
Okay, so Edie, do you know what a NIMBY is? Have you ever heard of
Not
NIMBY?
in my backyard.
Yes, that's why Edie Vogel's top dog here in Jefferson City. Because if you're watching the Wake Up America show, we are streaming live from Jefferson City, Missouri, and I've got Edie Vogel in the house. It looks like we must have gotten featured today because we're now blowing up over on Rumble. And welcome to everyone who's joining us. That's Camellia Peterson over there. I'm Austin Peterson, but we're not related. We're just good friends. We're talking about the cost of living explosion in this country and some of the root causes for it. So my question for you is, Edie, is if Governor Mike Kehoe here in Missouri wanted to overrule Ron Fitzwater, of the tyrant of Jefferson City. Just kidding, Ron. But if Mike Kehoe wanted to if the state wanted to override these local rules, is that something that you would support? What do you think?
No.
No? Why not?
Well, let's go back just a few months ago when our city, our illustrious city, which I love, and I don't know what's happening to it, but when they came up with the idea that they were going to pay contractors $5,000 to an incentive to build structures, my common sense clicked in. I said, well, whose money are you using to do that? And the only thing I could think of in my pea brain was, it's my tax dollar.
Yeah.
My tax dollar is being appropriated by the powers that be, the elected officials of my city, to incentivize the local builders. And
they should pay for it out of their own pockets.
Exactly.
Camellia, how do you feel about governors overriding the local housing and zoning regulations? Give us your take before I override you all with mine.
So, I mean, this is the ever ongoing question, especially for libertarians, right, about local control. And, and we've talked before about how my mind has been changed some on this issue, in that the reality is that local control can also be local tyranny. And at what point does the state have an obligation to step in and protect the rights of the people? And then, so I think we could have a conversation about whether, housing is not a right, okay? It's I think that we can establish. So the question is where does the state have a role to step in? And I do think that there is an argument to be made in that in the hierarchy of things, the state is the one who created the cities and municipalities, these counties. Like, they are a function of the state. So the state does bear some responsibility for their operation as well, as far as if they are operating in a way that is good for the people. I think that gets very blurry and messy, and you have to have lines. But when you have something like a housing shortage like we have, and the regulations at the local level are so overbearing that they are disincentivizing and contributing negatively to the economy, like, I think you're faced with this dilemma.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt you, Camellia, if you can for just a moment. I think Rumble has graced us with some kind of a feature this morning, so we're blowing up. And there's all of these hundreds of people who are joining us now who probably have no idea who we are. So if you don't mind, let me just briefly introduce myself and who we are, let people know who we are so that they hopefully will come back again and join us. I'm Austin Peterson, and you're watching the Wake Up America show. It appears that Rumble has featured us. Every once in a while they do, which means that we get introduced to a bunch of new people. We are a fun, live, liberty-loving talk show 5 days a week, 2 hours in the morning. We'd love to earn your follow, and that way you guys can join us again 5 days a week. If you click the follow button, you'll get a notification on your Rumble app when we do go live. Who are these strange and awkward people you're watching? Well, my good friend Edie Vogel, who lives here with me in Jefferson City, Missouri, over there. You see her on the left. I'll pull her up big screen for you. Edie got up early and came up here in the cold, and the dogs screamed and barked, and the baby cried.
And I'm sorry, I didn't ring. I rang the wrong.
Rang the wrong bell. That's
what's
okay.
That bell ring? What's that thing called?
It's a doorbell.
You know, I know. I made him. I said, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
And Edie is a local luminary, and she owns part of the Coca-Cola bottling plant here locally, and we've been good friends for years. And we're thankful that she came and joined us here this morning in studio. And I broadcast this show, or I stream it live from my shoe closet. And it just looks we just make it look cool, but it is indeed a shoe closet. And that lovely lady that you see to my right over there is my good friend Camellia Peterson, who joins us Tuesdays and Thursdays on this show. And
to be fair, you have a lot of shoes.
I do have a lot of shoes, yes. Thanks for telling the whole world. It's not my fault. A good man should have many hats and many shoes.
I thought Imelda Marcus was the only person who had a lot of shoes. Do you even know who she is? Remember
Imelda Marcus?
Yeah,
wow.
From the Philippines.
No,
you're too young, aren't you?
I guess so. I'm starting to feel old, but now I'm feeling younger. I'm going to keep bringing Edie on here so that I can start feeling young again. We love you, Edie. We love you.
Thank you.
Anyways, of the 348 people who are watching right now, we would be so grateful if you would click the follow button and come back and join us again 5 days a week. It's a fun show, and it's a really friendly community. And if you're tired of all the toxicity online, we work really hard to build a positive, healthy community. So it's a great place for you to get some news and meet some fun people and join a really friendly community. So let's continue, please. We're talking about the cost of living, the explosion in cost of living. One of the big questions here in Missouri and around the country are these data centers, Camellia, that are going in. And a lot of people are blaming them for the cost of living increases in these communities where they're taking a draw on the local water supply, and they're being blamed for increased energy cost. People are showing up to their town hall meetings when like my friend Angelo, they do polling on the top issues, and in Missouri and in some other states as well, these data centers that are being built are consistently some of the top issues that Missourians are looking at. Have you been hearing about it, and what have you heard?
Oh, yes. It is a hot issue. The article you sent me was about, there are multiple data centers that have gone in different places in Missouri. The drama lately in the last few months has been over one that was proposed to go in St. Charles, Missouri. And so there were problems. There were concerns about, the water supply as far as where it was being placed. People were generally opposed to it. And I think that there were some legitimate issues. And the thing is, too, is that I don't know that this really makes a difference, but there was a lot of brouhaha about, like, who owns this data center, because the company coming and making the proposal is not the company who actually would own the data center. And like, it eventually came out that it's highly likely it was Google. But the dilemma is that this is the next space race, right? We are in a technology race with AI development and use against, countries like China. And so the question becomes like, how do we do this in a responsible way? Because we do need to do it in a responsible way, but these are necessary. We can't just say no data centers in my backyard. Like, that's not going to work. But here's where, when you talk about local versus state, I just had a conversation with a legislator who's working a lot on the energy issue and AI issues, data centers. And so he was saying that, you don't, because we don't have like a statewide standard of requirements for these data centers going in, you have municipalities that are saying, yes, we want them to come in because they're getting a ton of tax revenue off of them in terms of property taxes. However, it is jacking up the electric costs, the energy costs for the people who live in those areas because there's no requirements that those local municipalities have put on them. So his proposal, because Missouri itself has a couple of problems. I know a lot of states are in this boat. Our energy grid infrastructure is not great. Like, we are at capacity, and we need to harden and grow our infrastructure so that we have the ability to profit from it by selling to other states. So there are ways that will be proposed to do this that require data centers to build their own energy infrastructure. And then there's lots of complicated details with how that works, but it also creates this standard across the board of requirements for them so that you don't have hit or miss in different municipalities and you have negative downsides for the people who live there, because we don't want it to increase costs for the local people.
And cost of living. It's what everybody is talking about right now. And yet the messaging from both parties is muddled and the policies are very unclear. Trump,
the economy's great. Did you not hear?
Yeah, listen. All right, my truck repairs are about $2,000, so a $2,000 tariff check is not something I'm going to sniff at. But if I have to pay $3,000 to get $2,000 back, then it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But at the end of the day, there really aren't a lot of people who are making concrete proposals. The concrete proposals that I'm hearing from some quarters are being roundly dismissed because it seems as if both parties are now avatars for Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that FDR's ideals control both the Republican and the Democratic parties. So I don't know how we can advance this messaging because, one, it's freaking boring and chemtrails are far more interesting. And if I had a show about chemtrails, I would be very wealthy. Instead, I'm talking about cost of living increases and trying not to bore the hell out of people. But I don't know. Where do you shop in town for your groceries? Edie, which grocery store do you go to? Do you DoorDash or somebody else? Does somebody else buy your groceries?
I would never. You're looking at somebody who. I don't buy groceries.
Okay.
My daily deal is I eat out a lot.
Oh my God. So there's, you know what, inflated, you want to talk about inflated costs.
But I don't do DoorDash. I'm able to get my rear end in the car and go to the places where I want to.
She's an out-of-touch elite, Camellia. She's an out-of-touch elite.
No, she is contributing to this economy in a positive way.
She's spending.
People like Edie.
Yeah, we people spending. We need the wealthy elite spending into the local economy.
Well, I shop locally, but I don't. It's a shock to go into the store and pick up some lunch meat and a loaf of bread and a jar of Miracle Whip is $5.
Oh God! Yeah. And a pound of 90-10 lean beef is $10.
I know. See, so you understand why I don't go into a grocery store, because it's just me. I have a dog, okay, but he eats part of my food and his dog food. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't pay me to get a refrigerator full of
food,
staples of food.
Camellia,
I'm sorry, I'm not helping you with your.
No, it's okay.
But I can tell you that I do not it's very difficult for me to understand how some folks are making, how they're
we're scraping because
affording to go to just get stuff that's a package of spaghetti. Haven't looked at that. What's it?
They're tariffing it, and now it's actually going to be disappearing. I kid you not. They're actually going to be disappearing from store shelves now because of a new 100% tariff on Italian pasta. This is anti-Italian discrimination.
Yeah, that would be.
You know, Austin, what's been so funny is people are like, well, what's so much better about Italian pasta? So there's just been this whole discussion on Twitter about the differences, and there are differences. This is like something that I had read about here quite a while back, and so there are differences in the way the pasta is made.
I can understand
and
that, yeah.
how it is, like the temperatures and how it's dried. Like there are differences with Italian pasta.
Are there people really trying to claim that American pasta is superior to Italian pasta? Are they trying? Is this like a protectionist thing where they're like,
Well,
just
they're like,
eat
what's
the
the
American
difference?
pasta?
Right.
Where they're like,
Yes.
just buy the American product, buy the American pasta. And it's like, damn it! If there's one thing that I feel like you can be an ethno-nationalist about, it's Italian pasta. If Giorgia Meloni is the president or the prime minister of Italy, then can we please let's get away with a little ethno-nationalism as long as the ethnicity is Italian.
But in recalling ever going to the grocery store, I think there is packages of pasta that's called American Beauty.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
American something noodles.
They want to make it look like they're American. Bafangul, your mother.
Probably made in China.
All right. Well, how much are we paying these days for the gabagool? I got to take a quick second. When there's 735 people watching the live stream, I have to say welcome. Because a minute ago there were 300 people, now there's 700 people. I don't know if the president of Argentina has reposted us like he did that one time, or if Rumble has placed us on the first page. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time and clicking into our stream, because we're a smaller group of people here. It's a smaller live stream. We rarely get the like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen numbers. But I do want to take a break and just say thank you, and hopefully ask you to click that follow button. It's going to be in your best interest, because not only is this show a lot of fun, but you're also going to be informed by the end of it. We talk about real issues that matter to real people like yourselves. If you're looking for a good informative news source and not just the typical chemtrails gobbledygook you might get on most shows, then I'll invite you to please join us on the Wake Up America show. Click the like button and the follow button and come back and join us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. That's the Wake Up America show schedule. And I also want to remind you that Rumble is the reason why the Wake Up America show exists, because we got demonetized on YouTube. I wasn't able to earn a living. And Rumble has really stepped up their game to help us. They've placed us on the front page today, and I just want to say thank you. Rumble wants me to share with you one of their smarter ways to browse. They recently merged with an artificial intelligence company called Perplexity. If you're looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content like us without ads, you can get their Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $20 a month when you sign up for December 34th before December 31st. That's normally a $29.99 value. And with Rumble Premium, when you watch shows like ours, you get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and exclusive access to premium content like what we produce on Friday nights. That's our Freedom Arcade show, where you can actually be a guest on our show with us through our Liberty network. Plus, Perplexity Pro, which is the AI that Rumble has merged with, boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, and exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Thank you, Rumble. Thank you, Perplexity. We would not be able to have this large of an audience without Rumble. So back to the topic here, Camellia, and let's finish it up with this. So this really is, from a bigger picture, all of the polling is showing that people don't care about the ideological struggles of the woke right or the woke left or Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes. Like most normal people, what they care about is how much a gallon of milk costs, how much a dozen eggs costs, how are they going to get into a new home to build their dream home or their families and things like that. These are the issues that people care about. You see this as a boots on the ground lobbyist here in the state of Missouri. So what do you think needs to happen going forward? I think the left, they're actually capturing some of that. Zoran Mamdani, they're actually kind of turning a little bit more towards an agenda that says that we're going to do something to help you. Are Republicans doing this? If not, what should they do? Talk to us about this.
I mean, as far as the economy as a whole, I think there are a lot of things that we can do. And I think people look at the sheer number of things that need to be addressed, and it's overwhelming and it's discouraging. And they're like, forget it, it's whatever. And so they do. And so then I think that puts people into a position that they believe like, we are getting hit with like bad policy ideas like multiple times a day lately, coming out of the administration itself and from the president. And it's all an attempt to assuage these very legitimate concerns that people have. So we're going to give you, like, the tariffs have made your product costs go up. So we're going to give you $2,000 checks. And oh, you're mad because we're not paying down the economy with it. Well, we're going to give, low and middle income people $2,000 checks, but then we're going to like pay down the national debt.
Listen, I'm still aggravated that I didn't get my whatever they gave the COVID people. How many years?
Yeah, you know why? Because you're rich. You're rich.
But that's
it's hard to feel bad for the rich man.
Nothing
in this
but pure discrimination against. I don't care. That's not right.
Anti-Italian discrimination,
huh? It
your
wasn't.
Money too.
It's my money. That's right. That's right.
You're right.
I don't care if you want to call me some kind of a rich old broad or whatever, but it's not fair that all of a sudden he goes into a tantrum about saying, "Well, we're going to give everybody $2,000 except the." And I thought, here you go again. You're leaving. Why should you leave me out when you want to see what I pay to the federal government in income tax a year? I pay my fair share, and I don't understand why I just want a little pimple on an elephant's ass and they won't give it to me.
Eat the rich, Edie,
right.
because we eat the rich these days. Arr. That's why we invited you in studio today. We're going to carve you up after this.
I'm sorry. That really teased me off. And then I want one more to say about the whole problem that I think we're having is in Washington, D.C. for 41 days, those fools sat up there and they didn't do nothing. All those old people in the legislature, the Congress, and the people are sitting around the United States and they're suffering because I'm not a big fan of all this give out stuff. I will admit that. I think people need to work, okay? But we have.
Of course, you think that.
But we've destroyed. We've destroyed 50% of the. We've destroyed 50% of our population by keep handing out all of that stuff.
Edie Vogel's like, get back to work.
Well,
I'm going out to eat tonight. Trying to afford homes.
Okay,
I'm just teasing.
I know you are, but I've opened the door because it makes me mad that they're not going to. They didn't give me my money back at COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I am here to tell you that I love rich people and the builders in our country because without them, we would be in a very, very rough place. We need the builders and the people who make these companies, the entrepreneurs who make the jobs that people need.
And they need the regulation to get out of their way to do the common sense thing when it comes to building stuff.
Spoken like a true rich person. Who can afford to build in this economy when I can't even afford milk for my baby?
Yeah.
Camellia, anything else? I was taking the Vox Populi this morning. Anything else that you want to share with our audience before we let you go today?
There are things that we can do, and I would say watch for the people who are working to protect the economy in their state. And there are things we can do here at the local level to give people relief, like eliminating the income tax and making our state competitive. Watch for the people in Congress who aren't just out there spouting and making noise. And I'm thinking this morning particularly, and I don't know if you've talked about this yet, and we don't have to talk about it right now, but of Rand Paul, who is going to bat for an entire industry in his state, because in this bill, this resolution, they have, Cocaine Mitch has put in a provision that will make the hemp provisions that were made legal back in 2018 that would make them illegal again. And that hurts Kentucky's economy. And so we need all of the businesses that we can get. And like Edie said, we need the government to get out of the way.
How dare you speak well of Cocaine Mitch McConnell on this show? How dare you?
No. He's evil. He's the one who's trying to do this.
Oh, well, you.
Okay.
I was confused.
I was
by
getting mixed.
wording.
Yeah. I thought.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No.
Usually when people refer to Cocaine Mitch, I'm like,
he's one of those old
awesome.
farts.
Go ahead, Edie.
He's just one of those people that need to move on down the road.
Old farts.
Yeah.
I love it. Spoken like a true old fart.
It's frustrating.
Hey, we're going to have a whole lot of fun after this is over, because while we've been talking about all these very serious topics, another topic has been waiting in the wings, and that is that Donald Trump says that U.S. visas can be denied to fat people from now on. So, Camellia, I'll spare you that.
You better. That means I don't get a visa then, doesn't it?
Camellia, one last chance to plug anything that you want to say before we let you go.
Nah, you can follow me at Rare Camellia on Twitter, X, and otherwise go out there and everybody do their little part and we can get this done. Don't wait for the government is not coming to save you. Do your thing.
Thank you. Exactly. Because Edie's not going to get a check. I might, but Edie's not. Have a good one, Camellia. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Camellia.
We appreciate you. Yeah. Old farts. It's the fart off. Let it commence. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Over 1,000 people live. We have not seen over 1,000 people on this show in a long time. It must be that beautiful lady sitting right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Those, as soon as I walk out the door, the white coats will be looking for me.
For those of you who are just joining us today for the first time, and that's hundreds and hundreds of you, I imagine, please click the follow button if you're enjoying the content that you're watching right now. Ask anybody in the Rumble chat who is a regular on the show. We are a very fun community, and it's a great show. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. That is our schedule, and we would love to be a part of your daily routine. Click the follow button on Rumble, and you'll get a notification when we go live, which is 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time, Mondays through Fridays. It's a 5 day a week extravaganza of fun, freedom, and really fun characters that we bring, like Edie, who's here joining us from Jefferson City, Missouri right now. We're glad that you've invited us into your home and into your lives this morning. 1,100 people watching us is no small feat. And we know it's a gift given to us by Rumble for giving us the opportunity to be introduced to you. So please introduce yourself to us. In the Rumble comments, you can see all of our fun community members are out there and they'd love to meet you. So please introduce yourself. Say hello. How did you find us this morning? The rumor is that they featured us on the Rumble front page, but we haven't seen that. The rumor is that Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, reposted us this morning, but we don't know if that is. If so, I think we would be seeing a lot more Spanish speakers in the chat, but that's not the case. So where'd you come from? Introduce yourself and make yourself comfortable. We've still got 30 more minutes of fantastic content for you left to go. Trump says U.S. visas can be denied to fat people from now on. New State Department guidance encourages embassies and consulates to deny visas to people with obesity or other health issues. So it's a funny story, but it actually there's some method behind the madness. Edie, at first blush, what do you expect this to be, this policy?
Well, I think, is President Trump joking?
So here's what it says. A Thursday directive from the State Department sent to embassies and consulates around the world indicates that people applying for visas to the United States may be rejected if they have certain medical conditions on the grounds that they could take up domestic health care resources.
Okay, well, now you're getting into a little bit more of the substance. Yeah, okay.
So you must consider an applicant's health, the cable read. Certain medical...
I would have to kind of maybe agree with that because our health system in the United States is overwhelmed as it is now. So we don't need people coming over here to visit. And the first time they step into the United States, they get a bellyache and they're in our emergency rooms.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of that.
It's an interesting POV. So certain medical conditions, including but not limited to cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, cancers, diabetes, metabolic diseases, neurological diseases, and mental health conditions can require hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of care.
Mental health should go to the top of the list.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. Mental health should be the primary.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because boy, oh, never mind.
But it is an important thing because, so say, for example, we've got St. Mary's here, we've got Capital Region Healthcare, and they have to have
MU Health.
MU Health, of course. Let's give them the credit, right? They birthed my baby.
Okay, well, there you go.
But the problem is that if they want to expand resources, let's say they wanted to add more hospital beds, they have to actually prove that to the government that they need more hospital beds.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Well, back in my day when I was working in nursing homes, and if they wanted to be building more nursing homes, which you don't hear about that as much as they did when I was working, okay? Because I think we've lost that generation of folks that I was taking care of. And now we're kind of in a lull, there with the generation. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a thing called the Certificate of Need.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
So,
but what do you think about that, Edie? As someone who worked in these situations, if the nursing home wants to expand and add more beds, why should they have to prove that they need more beds?
Well, because of the cost. Because with the ability of the ideal situation is that you've saved enough money. If you have to go to long-term care, you can pay for it out of your own pocket. Okay, but that I think those days are kind of now I've been out of it so long, but everybody that maybe is now facilitating themselves into a nursing home is getting it paid for by
the government.
By the government.
Well, so the idea behind the certificate of need, at least for people like ourselves, is that if you get rid of this certificate of need, then hospitals, nursing care facilities, the ones who are required to ask the state for permission, no longer needing permission to do so, can add as many hospital beds as they feel is necessary to meet the demands of the communities that they serve.
But do you think if they're going to stick their assets into something like that, that they would do their homework before they would do it? Or
don't you think that you would? I mean, if so, you own a percentage of the Coca-Cola bottling plant, right? And before you make any sort of an expansion of business, you have like an economist whose job it is to do the math so that you can say how much is it going to cost, what's the tax burden going to be. Like, you would do all that before you would expand.
Well, I would.
Business.
I must confess, my part in my family business is because we are a franchise, okay, but we are our own private company,
right?
That there just happens to be several of those left in the United States because most of the bottling companies or the production of Coca-Cola products are owned by large conglomerates, okay? But here in the state of Missouri, there's like 3 of us that are still family owned for the territory that we are allowed by law to cover with our product. So, I mean, I can't make that. I mean, it's the president of our company, my family business. He and our staff at our bottling plant, they have to do that. I don't have the brain to tell you.
But I mean, they would do that. So you asked if a healthcare facility would do the math before they expanded their hospital beds. Sure, they would. But even if they didn't, if they were taking that burden upon themselves, they should be allowed to take that risk with their own.
Oh, yes, I would agree with that.
Would say,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
So
now
I guess,
I have a friend who's still kind of doing nursing home administration work, and he happens to work for a home that is run by the county where he's working. So they have a board of directors that's elected by then you get the government involved in it if it's a county. If it's a government-owned facility that provides the care for the elderly. So that's always an interesting, there's the public part of it and then the private stuff in regards to nursing home care.
Okay, so we're going to get off of this economic topic for a minute we've been talking about this morning. We're going to talk about something else, something a little bit closer to home. I mentioned it yesterday. We had Hal Dooley on the show. He came in studio and we talked about this concept. During the holidays, Edie, I like to soften our coverage just a little bit, talk about little more personal things. And one of the topics that I think is really important, especially around the holidays, is the concept of family estrangement. And we probably everybody has some family member that they used to call them the black sheep of the family, right?
I've been considered that sometimes.
Well, estrangement though.
No, I know what you're talking about.
The concept where you don't speak to your family members anymore, or
well, I have to confess, I don't. My mother was an only child, so I don't. We're pretty tight knit in my little group on that side of my family,
Well,
so.
the reason why this is a news story, Jimmy Kimmel's wife, her name is Molly McNerney. She did a podcast where she was talking about her relationships with her family members. And here's what she had to say. Take a listen.
Vote for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Thankfully, my immediate family, they did not vote for Donald Trump.
Okay.
They did the first time, a few of them. We flipped them the second time. It's weird. When Donald Trump was first elected, I was so upset. We all were. But I remember thinking, I understand it because I grew up in a very conservative Republican house. Right. I mean, I bought my dad a Rush Limbaugh tie in high school. I I voted Republican straight ticket, and that's what I was told to do. And then I left St. Louis, Missouri, and I met people from different backgrounds, and I started to understand different things and different needs and different people. And there's like a little bit of sympathy I have for people in my family that I feel are kind of being deliberately misinformed every day. And they're deliberately being misinformed every day, and they believe it. But it hurts me so much because of the personal relationship I now have, where my husband is out there fighting this man. And to me, them voting for Trump is them not voting for my husband and me and our family. And I unfortunately have kind of lost relationships with people in my family because of it.
Yeah, I mean, they say the number one reason why people say that they have had estrangement from their families in recent years has been because of politics. Because people like this, they cannot stomach having a relationship with someone who voted for Donald Trump. What's your reaction to that?
Nuts to that. Come on. Something's wrong with her brain too. I mean,
But I mean, this is common. This is not. This is
I
not
understand.
Just, this is not
I
just
understand
the Hollywood
it.
elites.
I know. I understand it's common.
Hometowns.
I understand.
Yeah.
I get that, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't.
We've had estrangements in our family. People that we grew up. My dad sent a picture the other day of me and some of my cousins who we don't really talk to anymore, and it was pictures of us when we went deer hunting together as a kid, growing up in Missouri. We would all go up. We had a relative that lived in Boonville, and growing up every year, we would go deer hunting on his estate in Boonville. And now we don't really have relationships with those
because of the
cousins
election.
No, not the politics, like other things. But I mean, like it's just estrangement in general. Because I kind of think of like the holidays as a time to try and reconcile. Right. So now that Thanksgiving is coming, and we're thinking about who's coming over for turkey dinner and Christmas dinner, probably yesterday, Hal and I were talking about Christian virtues. And one of the Christian virtues was forgiveness. And we, when we looked at all the Christian virtues, we had to ask which of these were the ones that we felt were the most difficult ones. And for me, forgiveness was the most difficult one. I have a difficult time forgiving people who have transgressed me. What about you? Because I like revenge. I don't know about you, but I like revenge.
I can't say offhand that I want revenge from anybody. There are certain folks that, have crossed my path that I didn't maybe appreciate. I've moved on from it, but at the time that maybe something occurred, and off the top of my head, Austin, I'm going to tell you, can't pinpoint, because I'm the kind of a person who just keeps, just kind of just shove it over to the side.
Well, some of the major virtues of Christianity, and I know you're a Christian, right? Faith, hope, and charity.
Yes.
Those are kind of like the theological virtues. The cardinal virtues: prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance.
Yes.
I think you and I both struggle with a little bit of temperance, don't we? Aren't you a Mad Dog 2020? What is that liquor that you drink?
I was a Voodoo Ranger beer.
Voodoo Ranger beer.
Which I haven't had for a long time, because I've told you numerous times, 2 of those will put you...
Get you blackout drunk.
Right, that's right, that's right.
So temperance, there's a Christian virtue that we struggle with. Here's one that I really struggle with: humility. Humility, a core value, contrast with pride. I'm a prideful, vengeful being. And here's another one that I struggle with: patience. I'm very impatient, right? I actually have been making a conscious effort recently in public to try and lock eyes with someone. And even when they start going into the depths of boringness, I force myself to listen and to pay attention and to try and offer them just that respectful patience, because I need to work on my patience. I need to do that. And it is difficult. Don't people sometimes try your patience?
They do, but I have to say that I'm going to take the the road that you're saying is just lock in and just stand there or sit there and just listen and try to say, okay, let these folks talk. Whatever they're saying, I'm not interested in it at all, probably, but I will listen because of trying to be humble. There's good. I don't find that too hard to do because in my experience like I said, back to most of my nursing career was in long-term care, taking care of the elderly, and those folks, they're very lonely. And if you could take the time, and when we had the time, is just to sit and let them talk and talk. And some of them, they're confused. So that even made it more interesting to let them do their confusion talk. And then you just smile a lot and just be quiet and just listen.
Yeah, that would probably be another really good exercise to help me with my patience. That's another Christian virtue that I struggle with.
And then finish I've said previously on your show, when I finished my nursing career, I was a nurse in the prison. Okay, so that flipped gears totally opposite, because you were in an environment in the Missouri State Penitentiary, and spent almost 15 years doing that. And that was the best part of my job as a nurse, was to be able to relate to the inmates, because I don't know, there was just something about them. They were the biggest con artists, or they were killers, or they were murderers, or they were rapists, or whatever. But you still had to give them the respect that, I felt that they deserved in order for you to be safe in the environment that I was in. So, I learned that very quickly.
Edie, you spent time as a prison nurse. You got to see the people who were the most castaways of society. What were some lessons that you learned while you were spending time, treating people who were? I knew right from the start, with advice from the person who hired me, because she knew my experience working in the long-term care, and she has said to me, with your experience doing that, you'll be able to do this. But I'm just going to tell you that you must pay attention all the time, because they'll try to con you as much as they can. So I said to her, okay, I think I can do that. And I learned very quickly that if you're in a conversation with an inmate and all they do is ask you a simple question, and you have to answer them in a way that that you have the ability to either say yes or no to them. And don't indicate to them that you're going to be able to save them from everything, because that isn't the way it works in the penal institution. But I did know that I had the respect of the correction officers who would accompany me when I was passing out medication, or when I was running with them in a medical emergency, where you never knew what you were going to experience on those occasions. And I think I told you my first night on the job, I'll repeat it. I went to a murder of an inmate at the walls. And I said to myself, after I went to this event with another coworker, I said, well, this is my first night here. And I said, I didn't think I'd get oriented to something like this. And of course, you just roll with the flow. And when I got back to my duty station, the people that I had just met that night that were coworkers with me said, "You won't be back tomorrow, will you?" And I said, "No, I'll be back, because I have to have a job." Mm-hmm. And I said, if this is part of my job assignment, is to go to events like this, then I'm okay with that. Well, good for you, Edie. You're a good person.
I enjoyed my time as a nurse in the correctional center here in Jefferson City.
We'd love to hear that. Well, thank you, Edie. And I know that people really got some benefit out of hearing from you today. And I'm so grateful that you came in here and joined us. Everybody give it up for Edie Vogel for
thanks for asking me.
In the community.
Thank you. I might not have been on top of. I do want to go over that when we were talking about the data, the data centers.
Oh, those data centers.
So
yes.
Clarify for my brain that's a facility where information is going to be stored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Essentially.
And the folks that'll be working at some of these institutions, what kind of a qualification or you think might be
You think
required?
like an engineer.
Okay, so
And-
it would be high paying.
They would be high-paid jobs. It would not necessarily be a lot of high-paid jobs because the idea of the data center is that you build all of these. They're called server farms.
Okay.
And where all the data is being stored, and you only need a skeleton crew to manage it because you want it to run itself.
Okay, I see.
But it's a humongous power drain on our communities.
Well, that's what I agree with our conversation.
And our
in
grid is already stretched.
Yes.
So,
yes. So,
so people are concerned about rising power costs. It's a serious
then I'm going
problem.
to be on record to say that those folks that are trying to open up those data centers, they need to provide the capital to make their own power.
Of course, the problem is that in order
Regulation,
to regulate power,
yes,
they
yes,
can't. So we
yes,
do have
yes.
to deregulate.
Right.
I also want to say thank you to Rumble for introducing us to so many wonderful people. We had over 1,000 people on at one point. And I'm grateful to all of you who have. Please, before you leave today, don't forget to click the like button so that you can come back and join us again, right back again here tomorrow. We have a fun show, and it's always interesting and entertaining, and we are always offering solutions to the problems that people like you and I face on a daily basis. Without Rumble, I would have never been able to be introduced to many of you today. And so I want to talk about them for just a moment because Rumble is growing fast and they are not slowing down. They're going to need data centers for all of the Rumble data for sure. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts people like ourselves, creators like us, first. And they actually protect free speech. Unlike so many other platforms that don't allow me to earn a dime from them, I can actually build a liberty-based business based on my ideas and what I believe in, thanks to the architecture that Rumble has put down. And that's why I'm a big advocate for Rumble Premium, which is an easy way to upgrade the experience here. With Rumble Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. You don't have to watch the pre-roll ads, no interruptions, just the content that you came for. And premium members also can watch our Friday night Freedom Arcade show. It's a game show where you can actually be a part of the show and you can join us and be a part of our community. Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about like us. That's the deal. Thank you to Rumble. Without Rumble, we'd be in big, big trouble. We appreciate them. So I haven't told you about this fun little thing that we're getting ready to do here in just a moment, Edie, but we actually have a mode in the stream, and it's a game show mode.
Oh, geez.
And we're actually going to play the game show with our audience in just a few minutes. So it's a trivia game, and people get to play on their phones at home. And here's how it works. If they want to play the game, if they've made a Rumble Rant donation, or let's say that they went to the shop this morning, say they bought a box of that Founding Flavors coffee that's sitting in front of you, then they're eligible to play the game and win real prizes from the shop. That's right. So if you want to play the game, all you have to do is send us a text at that phone number you see at the bottom of the screen, 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. And today I want to do something a little different. I don't want to destroy Brad Beckman, but I do want to make him suffer a little bit. And here's what I want to do today. Today we are going to open up the game. I would like to open up the game to everyone, Brad. Everyone who's watching. There are 823 people who are here with us live. I want to open up the game show to everyone who wants to join, okay? There are a certain number of slots that are available for you to play the game. If you want to play the game, you're going to have a very small, brief window that you can get in, okay? If you want to play the game, send us a text at 573-319-1586. Just text the phone line and say, let's play. Brad is going to send you a secret code and a website. That secret code and that website will allow you to log into the website to play the trivia game. The first place winner of that trivia game is going to take home a very nice prize from our shop. And today we're going to play Turkey True or False Thanksgiving Edition. So I'm sending Brad the code right now so that he can join he can, excuse me, hold on, I'm just gonna get the, yes, so we are going to upgrade. Oh my God, that's way too much money. Hold on, I want to do it. So we're getting, looks like there's going to be there will be a cap of, looks like 50 people who will be able to join us on the stream today. So I'm making it so that we can open it up for 50 people to be able to join us. And if you want to play the game, send us a text right now at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. There is a max number of players and it's 50 people, but everybody who plays is going to win something and one person is going to win a grand prize. Does this make sense so far? Is it kind of confusing, Edie?
Continue on,
okay,
Maestro.
So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to open it up right now for everybody who wants to play the game. We're going to win real prizes. Anybody can play for free, but the first 50 people are the ones who are going to get in the game. I'm sending the code right now to Brad, and I'm clicking play. I'm putting it on the devices. I'm clicking start. I'm sending him the secret code. Is Hammond. Well, actually, you know what? I'll just pull it up on the screen and you guys can just enter it on your own. How does that? I'll make it just easier on Brad. There's no secret code today. The code is open. The first 50 people who sign in to crowdparty.app can play the game. Brad, I'm going to take it easy on Brad. Don't worry about it. It's capped at 50 players. We're going to play today Turkey True or False Thanksgiving Edition. So go to crowdparty.app and enter that secret code. You can also take a picture on the screen there, and then you can log in. We'll take the first 50 people who want to play, and everybody who plays has a chance to win, and everybody who plays is going to win something, but one person's going to take home a lucky prize. I have a 30-second countdown that I'm going to do, and if you want to play the game, then you've got to get in by that 30-second moment. So right now we've got 7 out of 50 players. We can hold as many as 50 players. We're playing for real prizes on this show today. There are 8 people so far who are signed in to play. You can take a picture of that QR code on the screen that you see right there, and it will log you in and bring you into the game. Remember, we are playing for real prizes, and it is a lot of fun. Today's game is Turkey True or False Thanksgiving Edition. So we can take up to 50 players. Right now, we've got 9 out of 50. Once I hit the countdown, the 30-second countdown, that's when the game begins, and you'll have 30 seconds to join the chat. I will leave it up right now. Go to that website, enter that secret code to play the game with us, and we will start in 30 seconds from now. There we go. Get in there, Josh. 10 out of 50 players. Website is crowdparty.app. You can join late. It just will be harder to win. Okay, there it is. It's time for Liberty Loot Live, the great grift off, we call it. Liberty Loot Live. We're going to start the game. You can start late. The secret code will always be in the top left-hand corner of this one. It's just, again, it'll be harder to win. But everybody who plays is going to win something. Let's get the show on the road. Here we go. Let's play. The Pilgrims ate pumpkin pie at the first Thanksgiving. False or turkey true? If you had to guess, Edie, what do you think it would be?
False.
False? You don't think that the Pilgrims ate pumpkin pie at the first Thanksgiving? Are you sure about that? False. 8 got it right. 3 got it wrong. Here we go. So far, Drew number 1. Siggy's mom number 2. Thanksgiving is the most traveled holiday in the U.S. Turkey true or false? What would you say?
True.
You think it's true? Not Christmas? No? I would think Christmas. I'm going to say false. Oh, it was true. 5 got it right. 6 got it wrong. Leaderboard, Josh 1776 at top. The average American consumes over 3,000 calories on Thanksgiving Day. True or false?
True.
True? You think it's true? I'm going to say false just to be a nudge. Oh, it was true. One person said false. Josh 1776, Drew J. Trump, and Siggy's mom are all fighting for first place. Here we go. Now they have to. There's a gift, and they can choose to accept it or not.
Okay.
If it could be a turd. It could also be a diamond. But let's see, which one was it? It was 100 points. If you took the gift, then you got 100 points. Here we go. The first Thanksgiving lasted 3 days. False or turkey true? Edie, what do you think?
True.
Take a guess. Okay, she says turkey true. First Thanksgiving lasted 3 days. It's true. Good guess. Good guess. All right, Drew coming out strong. I like Ike number 2. Canada celebrates Thanksgiving on the same day as the U.S. False?
I think that's false.
Or turkey true? I'm going to guess turkey true. It's false. Good guess. Good guess. Good guess. All right, next on the list, Drew J. Trump, Drew Luck, and I Like Ike at number 1. The Mayflower carried more than 1,000 passengers. Turkey true or false?
I think that would be false.
Oh, it was false. Good. Very good. Drew coming out strong again. Corn was called Indian corn by settlers. False or turkey true?
True. I think, well, you already, but I was going to say true.
Okay. Drew still strong at number 1. The wishbone tradition started in ancient Rome. False or turkey true?
False.
Camellia at number 1. All right. Let's see. We've only got a couple more rounds. They have to do matching pairs. So they have to remember that, and then they have to match the pairs on their phones.
Oh,
Edie.
boy. Okay.
All righty. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how they did. Who came out? This is where like people who aren't good at trivia will come back roaring back if they're good at memory games. Drew Trump, Josh, and Camellia jockeying. This last round is going to determine what it is. Only Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. False or turkey true? Your guess?
False.
9 and 5. Let's see. It was false. You're right. Drew Trump, number 1. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you want to claim your prize... Hold on. Oh, I didn't realize there was one more round. My bad. Friendsgiving was coined by the TV show Friends. False or turkey true? Friendsgiving.
True.
False. 3 and 11.
Didn't watch those
Game
shows.
over. Of course not. Who won? Drew Luck. Congratulations, Drew. You won. Now, everybody who plays wins something. So if you guys want to collect your prize, number 1, send us a text message at 573-319-1586. See that phone line at the bottom of the screen? Say I was in on the game, I'd like my prize, and Brad will send it to you, but you have to send us a text. 573-319-1586. And Drew Luck, make sure you identify yourself. We're going to need your name, we're going to need your email address and your contact information so that we can send you a really nice prize from the Grift Shop. And for the rest of you, if you played the game, send us a text and let us know that you played. And we will also send you a prize from the Gift Shop. Edie, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
This was a lot of fun, and thank you for asking me, but I want to recognize our veterans today.
That's right.
If you hadn't done that in the
Day.
first hour. So happy Veterans Day to all the veterans who fought to defend our freedom.
Amen. And thank you, Edie Vogel.
You're welcome.
For coming on here today. We'll see you tomorrow, right back again here on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
probably seen the headlines. California's $20 fast food minimum wage didn't kill jobs. But what if those triumphant claims are built on a foundation of shaky data and selective interpretation? It's time to peel back the layers and expose the uncomfortable truth behind the headlines. A recent study from the University of California, Berkeley was widely celebrated. It suggested that after California's $20 minimum wage for fast food workers took effect in April, restaurants not only maintained but even added workers. This was presented as a victory for proponents of higher minimum wages. However, if you actually delve into the 25-page paper, a different picture emerges. The glowing press releases and media soundbites don't quite align with the study's own findings. In fact, the paper barely addresses the direct effect of the minimum wage increase on California fast food employment. The study offers no concrete numbers or robust models to support the claim of job growth. There's a striking absence of clear evidence that fast food jobs genuinely increased because of the law. This raises a critical question. How can such definitive conclusions be drawn without the data to back them up? The paper's abstract boldly asserts, "We find that the policy did not reduce employment, yet the authors themselves admit their data is prone to sampling errors." This glaring discrepancy between the cautious academic language and the confident public messaging is deeply troubling for anyone seeking objective policy analysis. Only deep within the study, on page 20, do we find a graph. This chart, meant to illustrate employment trends, actually shows California fast food employment increasing more slowly than national fast food employment. This directly contradicts the narrative of a job boom. If anything, these data suggest a reduction in California fast food job growth compared to the rest of the nation. This isn't just a minor detail, it's a fundamental challenge to the study's core assertion. How can we trust conclusions that seem to ignore their own visual evidence? The situation becomes even murkier when we consider the data sources. The red line, representing California employment, includes casual dining restaurants exempted from the $20 wage, like Panera Bread and Buffett's. These establishments might have expanded, masking job losses in the directly impacted fast food sector. By combining data from potentially growing exempted businesses with those struggling under the new wage, the true negative impact could be hidden. This aggregation makes it nearly impossible to isolate the specific effects of the $20 minimum wage on the targeted fast food industry. We need precise, granular data, not broad strokes. Another study, Early Effects of California's $20 fast food minimum wage, also raises concerns. It found that California fast food workers lost an average of 2 work hours per week. While the authors downplayed this, even 2 hours is significant for low-wage earners. The study's methodology is also questionable. It only surveyed workers who kept their jobs, ignoring those who were laid off or whose restaurants closed. Furthermore, respondents were self-selected, recruited through social media ads. This isn't a random sample, it's a recipe for biased results. This isn't just an academic squabble, it's a crucial policy debate. When studies are rushed and conclusions are spun for political gain, who truly suffers? It's often the low-skilled workers, the very people these policies claim to help. High minimum wages risk cutting off the bottom rungs of the economic ladder. Instead of gaining experience at entry-level jobs, workers might be pushed into the informal economy or onto public assistance. We need to ask, are we truly empowering workers, or are we inadvertently creating new barriers to opportunity? Consider Seattle's minimum wage hike in 2014. An independent study found that while layoffs didn't surge, workers earning below the new minimum saw their hours cut by 7%. Despite a small hourly pay bump, these workers lost an average of $888 per year. This wasn't a win for the most vulnerable. In fact, the study found that the most experienced workers benefited, while less experienced, lower-paid individuals lost out significantly. When the findings were inconvenient, Seattle even cut funding for the researchers, seeking more favorable analyses. This pattern of suppressing inconvenient truths is alarming. These studies aren't about finding truth, they often serve to score political points. This approach disregards the real lives of low-skilled workers. We need to demand rigorous, unbiased research that focuses on the actual impact on these individuals, not just economic aggregates. Don't let misleading headlines dictate critical policy decisions. Demand transparency from policymakers and researchers. Share this information, challenge the narrative, and insist on data-driven discussions that genuinely serve the interests of all workers, especially the most vulnerable. Your voice can help ensure that future policies are built on facts, not political spin.
Hey guys, if you're still watching the show, thanks so much for sticking around. I couldn't miss an opportunity to plug the Grift Shop. If you're looking for some holiday gifts for the Patriot in your life, make sure you check out forlibertyshop.com. Exit through the Grift Shop, as they say. At forlibertyshop.com, we have a bunch of super high quality patriotic designs. My wife, Stephanie, made these really nice historic founding fathers, men's and women's pajamas we have in the shop, featuring George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams, as well as Benjamin Franklin. Those would be great Christmas gifts. You can get really nice bracelets for the lady in your life who loves liberty that say freedom on there. They come in a variety of colors. We have some really funny shirts like enjoy an ice cold glass of deportation t-shirts available at forlibertyshop.com. But the super high quality merchandise that we've been getting lately is astounding. Embroidered, patriotic, full zip hoodies. These are fantastic gifts that you can give to the liberty lover in your life. Look at George Washington right there surrounded by ladies. Guess he had some interesting tastes in women. But they are fleece pullovers that are embroidered, again, super high quality. We also have duffel bags and 1776 embroidered hats. The real star of the show at forlibertyshop.com, though, is not just the free shipping in the United States, but it's our Founding Flavors coffee, specifically our Martha's Mint. You get a volume discount whenever you purchase from forlibertyshop.com. If you buy more than one box of coffee, you're going to save a lot of money. If you haven't tried our coffee, it's more than just coffee. I can't compete with Hy-Vee. I'm a small business owner. I can't compete with Hy-Vee or with Schnucks or the Piggly Wigglies in town in terms of price. So I don't. I compete in terms of quality. And take a look at some of the 5-star reviews that we have of our coffee. If these are for coffee lovers, if you love coffee, then our coffee is for you. If you're like, I'll drink 5-day-old coffee that's cold from the truck, my F-350, then it may not be for you. I get it. I understand. And people have reduced budgets this year. I totally get it. But our coffee, while it's a little bit higher, remember, we are actually comparable when you account for shipping costs to some of the major brands that you might like. If you've tried some other major coffee brands, but you're sick of their politics, why pay for Starbucks when you know that they're going to take that money and use it for abortions? Why not shop where you hold your values? This is the top holiday coffee, and every year we sell out of it, and then it's gone until the next year. Go to forlibertyshop.com and try a box of Martha's Mint. Add a box of Jeffersonian Java in there, and you guys are going to absolutely love it. If you don't love our coffee, I will buy it back. So it is absolutely a zero risk to you, because if you love the coffee, you get great coffee. If you don't like the coffee, I will buy it back from you, and all you have to do is send it back to me, and I'll give you your money back, okay? So check it out at forlibertyshop.com. Look at all of the incredible products that we have for your patriotic friends or family members at forlibertyshop.com. Visit forlibertyshop.com. Check out all of our reviews. Get some stock up on Christmas gifts for the freedom lover in your life. And I hope that I will see you again back here tomorrow. Click the follow button before you guys go, and have a wonderful day. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.